What up, guys? Your boy VTech and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the most hated car in the car scene, and that is the Infiniti G35. This car has so much potential to be a great car, but people find a way to ruin them, and that's why people in the car scene kind of clown these cars, or first thing they think about them is a takeover car. But I'm going to say this car has a lot of potential. It is rear-wheel drive. It's a V6. Yeah, it's not a V8, but it's a V6 still. It's a great platform. You're trying to get into your first like kind of project car kind of build. It's the first car you should get if you're trying to get into the motocross scene, like drag racing, drifting. It's a great car, but people find a way to kind of destroy the name of this car and gives it a bad rep that people hate this car. And no, it's not because the VQ sounds like a trumpet. I think you can bypass that. But I don't know. Let's talk about why is the G35 the most hated car in the car scene today. When the G35 first came out, it was actually a really solid car. It had a VQ V6 making around 280 horsepower to 300 horsepower, depending on the year that you got. That's not bad. It's pretty impressive for what the time it was, like, what, early 2000s this car came out? So that's not pretty bad. It was a rear-wheel drive car available in a manual or automatic transmission, which is dope. It was a coupe or sedan, which is also dope. For the money, it was one of the most best enthusiast platforms you could buy at the time compared to other cars. Look at the G35. It was between the 28,000 and 35,000, which is not bad compared to the Mustang at that time. The New Edge Mustang, 23,000 to 29,000, only making about 260 horsepower. So for almost the same amount of money, you're in a nice JDM kind of car. The IS300 was about like what 29,000 to 31,000. Horsepower is very low. It's like what about 200. The BMW E46, 27,000 to 40,000. BMWs are always gonna be expensive. So like if you're trying to get in your first car during that time, those cars are kind of expensive. Then 350Z, I think it came out like what 2 years later, 3 years later after the G35 first came out. It was about between like 27,000 to 36,000. The G35 is technically a 350Z just with back seats. So personally, I'm going for the G35. The G35 has so much potential when it comes to tuning an aftermarket scene. With the VR motor, many people love to do like power additive to it. They love to go turbocharger on it, or they like to go pro chargers. There's so many kits you can get. And even with that, like that wasn't your thing. You didn't like the VQ motor in it. There were so many aftermarket swaps you could have done to it because some people are not fans of the trumpet sounds. There were swaps like you could do a K swap on them. You could do one JZ swap, two JZ swap, RB swaps. There even a new swap like you can do a Hemi swap on this. Like there's the potential of this car is crazy. You can do anything to this car, and that's why I think the G35 is so dope for this. It shows how much possibility this car really has in a great wide platform the car really is. The chassis is strong. The aftermarket support is huge for this car. You can do anything in this car. Listen, but we can talk about hours and hours about the great thing about the G35 and the potential this car really has and that great aftermarket support. But when there's always greatness, there's always bad thing that comes with it. The biggest thing that hurts the G35 today is how cheap it became. Once this car dropped in value, it became accessible to anyone. And that's not a bad thing. That's because the car is a great first car. Like I keep saying this again, there's so much you can do for it for what it costs in the streets. Like it's like what $3,000 to $4,000. You can find a nice, decent G35. But when someone sees a great opportunity, another person sees the opportunity to destroy a good thing. And that's where the G35 falls into. Most of the time you see this car, it's in a young person's hand who just got their driver license. And the first car they want to buy G35 because they want to go fit into the car scene. Because the car is rear wheel drive. It makes about what? 280 to 300 horsepower depending on the year, like I said earlier. And all you see on the news when you see takeover events, the first car you see, G35. G35 here, crash here, running away from the cops and from a takeover event is a G35. And the aftermarket scene with this car too, a lot of people, there's a lot of aftermarket you do to this car. There's a lot of great parts, but with a lot of great parts, there's a lot of cheap parts. And there's no like shade to people who can't afford all the great parts because I'm there too. But you should save up your money to buy decent parts instead of just putting like a cheap eBay exhaust that costs like 200 bucks. It's gonna make the car sound like crap. The car already gets a bad name for how ugly the motor sounds, but I think the VQ doesn't sound really bad. But I don't know. I think these people are ruining the car scene overall and the name of this car because this car has a great rep. Well, not anymore, but I think we can get this rep back. One of the biggest reasons why G35 gets so much hate today is because of takeover culture. And I'm gonna say this again because the takeover culture is not just hurting this car; it's also hurting the whole car scene overall. Because the car value is so low, anyone could buy them at this point in life. People see a beat up G35 doing donuts, crashing the curbs, getting impounded. That's the image people spread around social media. Like in NYC, I think a week ago, some guy went viral for having a G35 doing donuts in the middle of the streets. He got arrested, but the car he was in was a G35. And now, when cops see a G35, it just starts a stereotypical thing, and that's what you don't want. When police see you driving in these cars, first thing I think is a takeover kind of guy, a young kid, and they're gonna start bullying you and harassing you, low key. And you don't really want to do that every single day. That's why it kind of sucks when you get into a G35. It's a great car, but all this stuff you're gonna get, it's not worth it. The crazy part is that the G35 itself wasn't never a bad platform. The VQ is a perfect strong platform for you can turbo it or keep it naturally aspirated or supercharged or pro charged car. You can make pretty good power in the streets of this car. It has a lot of potential to be swapped. Like we said earlier, you can K swap, LS swap, RB swap, 1JZ swap, 2JZ swap, you can Hemi swap it. The aftermarket scene is crazy for this car. So you don't have to worry about it if you don't really like this motor. But here's the crazy thing. People can joke around and say that G35 is technically a Skyline because in Japan, it was a Skyline. It just had like different badges in America. So if you got G35, technically got a Skyline. But we're not going to say any of that stuff. So guys, after hearing all this, what I had to say about the G35, is the G35 the most hated car in the car scene? I think the car itself is not the most hated. I think what the owners do to those cars is what gives the car a bad rep. I think the G35 is a great car. I think if you're trying to get into the car scene, it is the best platform. They're very cheap. You can get it for like what, $4 grand, $3 grand on Facebook Marketplace. But you gotta make sure they're in good condition because a lot of people do take over events. You're young kids who drive these cars, and most of the time these cars are in bad condition. The motor might be cooked, transmission might be cooked. You don't know what else could be cooked. But if you can find yourself a nice clean G35 for like $4 grand, I say cop it. And don't let other people justify, oh, you're a takeover kind of guy. You're not. You're just enjoying the car for what it is because people love the car. So let me know down below. Is the G35 the most hated in the car scene or the owners ruined this car? And I'm going to see you on the next one.